Hey, good morning, everyone. Tough commute. Sorry I'm late this morning. Normally I start promptly at 8 a.m., but it is already 10:21. But I want to start off by thanking all the new people that have liked my video and shared my video. I have been, trying to show people part 3 of this arc of this love story that I started over in the summer. There's songs that go with it. And the first one was Une fille qui parle de ses désirs, and that's pinned to the top of the Facebook page. I took you on a walk with me through my old neighborhood in Paris and until I encountered Handsome. So that's New Love. And then we've been having a lot of fun with the Like Fire cover spin remix, which you can still check out if you go to the top of the Facebook page. You'll see that there's a shop now button, but when you click on that, it will take you to a fun page where you actually can listen to the song. If you're on Spotify, you can sing along because I have a lyric video there. The idea was kind of to do a karaoke video. And then when you scroll down at the very bottom of the page, there are a couple of t-shirts that are available that match the lyric cards from that tune, from Like Fire. And thank you for getting those. That's been going well. I have 12 left in medium in the Like Fire style, that iconic style that you guys love so much. And then there's 14 left in the medium of the or sugar sweet one. I also have larges and extra larges. I sold a few of those too, but again, this is a limited edition, so just so you know. So I'm just letting you know that, because when time comes around and you want to get that and they're gone, I'm not going to be making any more. So that's the dealio. So so today it is already October 26th. That means that Halloween is, what is it, on Saturday? Crazy. And like I've been saying, that's the time where I'm going to be launching the new experience, the new movie and album experience, where you have a chance to get closer to me and understand a little bit more about what I'm about. And it's a free, and it's in 7 chapters. And it goes along with Halloween and Day of the Dead and this whole season where we are missing loved ones. So I will be swapping out the link that is above, probably for that one. You also may be seeing some invitations, on Facebook and on Instagram for that as well. But this morning's order of business is Chapter 10, the Opulence of the Absolute. And this is the more esoteric side of me. So it's not everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. I've got a lot of cups. I got a lot of cups for a lot of different kinds of people. But as artists, we evolve, and we hope that people will stick with us. So this is Chapter 10. This is the opulence of the absolute, and this verse may surprise you. Okay, so as usual, I'm going to sing it, or actually, as usual, I'm going to say it in the original language. We are talking about Sanskrit, which is Devanagari, which is a very old language. It's considered to be the mother of all languages. It's a scholarly language. It's a language of poetry. It's a language of liberation. And then I'm going to read the word for word translation, and then I'm going to read the purport, and then I'm going to get into it. Okay, here we go. Dyūtaṁ chalayatām asmi. Ooh, you know what? I forgot to put in the microphone. Let me do that. You'll be able to hear me a lot better. Who's here this morning? I saw some eyeballs on here. Make a comment. Let me know you're here. I can't see you unless you make a comment. That's the anomaly of doing an iPhone. or any phone. Okay. Dyūtaṁ chalayatām asmi, tejas tejasvinām aham, jayo vyavasāyo sattvaṁ sattvavatām aham. So last week we were talking about poetry and the rules and regulations of poetry and how that is something for sure that is used when composing poetry in Sanskrit. So just for fun here, the last words in this verse go asmi, aham, shmi, aham, asmi, shmi, aham, aham. So there's some rhyming there in the meter. Okay, dyūtaṁ, gambling. Chalayatām, of all cheats. Asmi, I am. Teja, the splendor. Tejasvinām, of everything splendid. Aham, I am. Jaya, victory. Asmi, I am. Vyavasāyo, enterprise or adventure. Asmi, I am. Sattvaṁ, strength. Sattvavatām, of the strong. Aham, I am. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, I am also the gambling of cheats, and of the splendid I am the splendor. I am victory, I am adventure, and I am the strength of the strong. So that's surprising. So there are many kinds of cheaters all over the universe. Ain't that the truth? Of all cheating processes, gambling stands supreme and therefore represents Krishna. As a supreme, Krishna can be more deceitful than any mere man. If Krishna chooses to deceive a person, no one can surpass him in his deceit. His greatness is not simply one-sided, it is all-sided. Among the victorious, he is victory. He is the splendor of the splendid. Among the enterprising and industrious, he is the most enterprising, the most industrious. Among adventurers, he is the most adventurous, and amongst the strong, he is the strongest. When Krishna was present on earth, no one could surpass him in strength. Even in his childhood, he lifted Govardhan Hill. No one can surpass him in cheating. No one can surpass him in splendor. No one can surpass him in victory. No one can surpass him in enterprise. And no one can surpass him in strength. So this is fun. Just when you think you know what's going on, you learn something else that's awesome. So let's unpack this. Okay, so I am the gambling of cheats. So cheating, gambling, in a material sense, is, of course, not something that's desirable, right? It's something that is looked down upon. And as I was just doing a little research last night to get my wheels going and thinking, I came across a lot of posts and websites that were talking about gambling as an addiction, gambling as a disease, and the havoc that it can wreak on an individual and an individual's family and on one's loved ones, right? People can lose their money and destroy their relationships and all kinds of things because of that. But that's not exactly what we're talking about here, because again, we always have to remember Bhagavan's position, right? Bhagavan's position is transcendental, and as such, he is not subject to the laws of material nature. He creates the laws of material nature. Everything is running under his direction and his energy. It says that not a blade of grass moves. So where am I going with this? This means that no one is clever, no one can be more clever than the Supreme, because all intelligence, all knowing, the greatest psychologist in everyone's heart. So there are instances, however, in the Bhagavatam or in the Leela, in these transcendental historical accounts, of interactions of Krishna with different personalities, and specifically thinking about different mischievous personalities who actually thought they were going to get it over on Krishna or get it over on Krishna's devotee. So there are two examples that come to mind, and one has to do with the personality of Bali Maharaj, and the other one has to do with Hiranyakashipu and his son Prahlad Maharaj. So just to briefly recap, and you can go back into past Mantra Mondays here on the playlist or also on my YouTube channel. So Hiranyakashipu was a big Rakshasa, he was a big Asura, and he had ambitions. He had great ambitions. He wanted to rule over the whole universe, and he wanted everything to be his way. And he was not a nice guy. So as he was performing austerities, remember that Brahma came to him and said, "You're causing a great disturbance in the universe. You've got my attention. What is it that you want? What is it that I can give you?" And the first thing that Hiranyakashipu asked for was immortality. He wanted to live forever. And Lord Brahma replied, "I can't give you that. Even I don't live forever. So I can't give you something that I don't have. Is there anything else you would like?" And of course, Hiranyakashipu, because his mind was, devious, he didn't believe Lord Brahma. So he thought, I'm going to manipulate, and I'm going to trick Lord Brahma into giving me what I want. So he asked for 3 boons, which essentially he thought he had it covered, that he would be immortal if he wasn't going to die during the night or during the day, during land or on land or the sea, and that he couldn't be killed by any weapon and couldn't be killed by man or beast. So that didn't turn out too well for him. So the point is that, with his intelligence, as far as he could understand, he thought that he had covered all his bases. And we all do that, right? We're confronted with a situation, or, we're trying to get what we want. We're trying to get what we want. And we think about it and we think about it. And so we think of all the different things, that we want, and the combinations, and what we don't want. And then once we get into the situation, there's always something that we've forgotten. So the saying is that there's always some sand in the sweet rice, right? So this is part of material calculation, is that because we are fallible and because our intelligence is limited, we're always going to make a mistake in that way. So effectively, Nrsingadev, the Lord in that protective energy to protect the rest of us from the likes of Hiranyakashipu, was able to kill Hiranyakashipu and defeat Hiranyakashipu because, or you could say sort of cheat him, or sort of transcendentally cheat him out of this materialism that he wanted. So that was one example that came to mind. The other example that came to mind was one that we talked about a few weeks ago in relationship to Vamanadev and Bali Maharaj. Of course, Bali, that name sounds familiar, doesn't it? So Bali was actually in the family line and genealogy of Prahlad Maharaj. And as such, he had some tendencies. He had some asuric tendencies. He had some dark tendencies. And again, this is someone who also seemed to have control and rule over all the 3 worlds. And this was also, creating a disturbance. So the Lord disguised himself as a Brahmin dwarf, or as a Brahmin child, very beautiful and very enchanting, with blonde hair, which you have to understand. In Asia, in India, in the East, this was unusual. So this was very charming. And when he appeared in the court of Bali Maharaj, he asked for a boon. He actually asked for 3 boons. And Bali Maharaj granted him those boons because if a Brahmin, if a holy person, if a saintly person arrives at your doorstep, the etiquette is that you have to give them what they asked for. And Bali Maharaj, being a Kshatriya, was bound, by his varna and by his ashram to do such. What to speak of a child asking for something in charity. Although Bali Maharaj, he kind of had this inkling, he knew that this child wasn't ordinary and that something was going to go down. But nevertheless, because he gave his word and his word was everything, he followed through with that. So what did Vamanadev do? He asked for 3 steps of land, which on the surface seemed laughable. How big of a step can a child take? How big of a step can a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old child take? Not very big. But of course, the Lord being the transcendental cheater, with his first step, he covered, the entire earth. With his second step, he covered all the 3 worlds to the point where his toe actually cracked the layer, of the universe, and the Ganges, the holy river, came down from Vajra, right? And then he looked at Bali Maharaj and he said, and where shall I take my 3rd step? And Bali Maharaj at that point realized who he was dealing with, and he said, my head. Meaning, I surrender to you, and bowed down, paid his obeisances, and the Lord placed his lotus feet on the head of Bali Maharaj. So those are 2 examples of Krishna being the transcendental cheater. But, in the essence of it, a gambler or a successful gambler wins, right? Of course, a gambler is often winning through cheating, be it blackjack or poker or whatever it is. And I mean, there's whole movies and stuff made on that. So it is a kind of intelligence, although admittedly within the material realm, it is an intelligence that is limited, that can get us into a lot of trouble. But again, here we're talking about transcendental intelligence, of which material intelligence and cheating is no match. Moving on, and of the splendid, I am the splendor. So that's easy enough to understand. Anything that is just incredible, like a beautiful sunset or the stars in the sky, or it's just something majestic, mountain ranges, or perhaps someone who is dressed so fabulously. Good morning, Sven. Sven Wilkert, nice to see you this morning. How are you? Thank you for being here. I think you must have liked my video, and I just want to say that I really, 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 really appreciate that. I don't take it for granted at all, and that I hope you have enjoy yourself looking around, because I've got a lot of content on this page and a lot of videos and more good stuff coming soon. So I was just doing my Monday appreciations. I think it's a great way to start off the week. So I was talking about the splendid of the splendor of the splendid in relationship to the supreme, or someone is dressed, fabulously, or, whatever it is like that just sort of dazzles us and just makes us take a step back and appreciate, the beauty, just the overarching, overwhelming beauty. That is also to consider to be Bhagavan. So that's another way to appreciate the creator, the supreme creator and creative in our everyday lives. Then he says that I am victory. So I use that expression jai. So jai means literally victory. And also it's got that sort of similarity of yay. So when we shout yay, that basically it's the same sentiment. We're expressing we won, there's a gratitude and appreciation for a victory that we may have achieved. So it's to be understood that victory is in fact the divine. Then he goes on to say, I am adventure and I am the strength of the strong. So where do we get this urge and this desire to go on great adventures and have that excitement and thrill in our life. A hiking adventure, a travel adventure, a boating adventure, anything like that. It gives us this wonderful feeling, that life is exciting and life is expansive and it's full of discovery, and we're going to meet new people, we're going to see what we're made of. We're going to go beyond our boundaries. This is actually a quality of God. And when you think about God, and when you think about God being unlimited and all expansive, then this is a way to remember of the similarities that we share. Because of course, if we're made in the image of, then we share qualities of. But we usually don't think of the Supreme in that way. We usually just think of the Supreme of, giving us what we want or giving us what we need. We don't think of the Supreme as actually having a taste for that and having a personality. I love adventures. I love traveling. I've gotten to travel to so many places, to Italy, to Spain, to Portugal, to France, to Switzerland, to Germany, to Puerto Rico, to, where else have I been? To Canada, to Mexico, to the Netherlands, shout out to the Netherlands, to anywhere, to Belgium, like anywhere, to Switzerland, anywhere I could get an adventure, or a weekend getaway, I was there, I was on it, because it makes you feel alive. And then the last thing he says, that I am the strength of the strong. So that's another marvel when we look at the strength of, let's say, an elephant and what they were able to do, just like pick up trees with their trunks and throw it around. Or when we see someone like Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator, right? A weightlifter, or strength doesn't necessarily have to be physical, right? Strength of character, spiritual strength, the ability to just withstand and keep going and endure adversity. That is also something that can be credited to the opulence of the absolute, which is what this chapter is all about. And then there's a little bit more of elaboration here, talking about that quality of enterprise or entrepreneur, right? That's also a kind of adventure, People don't necessarily go into business just to make money. Sure, you go into business because you want to make money, you want to make a profit. You want to have a way to support yourself and support your family. But you'll notice with people that are serial entrepreneurs, like Richard Branson comes to mind, the guy has made and lost fortunes over and over and over again. He gets a thrill out of just starting new businesses. He loves the whole adventure of enterprise. So these things can be interlinked. Let me see. Then there's an example here where, again, going back to the strength of the strong, and the example is given of the lifting of Govardhan Hill. And that's apropos because that's actually a big holiday that's coming up for those of you who are Indiophiles and know a little bit about that. In the month of November, there is a very, very fun festival called Govardhan Puja, where we actually make literally a mountain of sweets. So sweets like halava and ladus and burfi and luglus and sheer and sweet rice and cakes and cookies and all kinds of things, and make a big, I guess you could say, diorama out of sweets, making rocks and boulders and rivers and hills and so on and so forth, commemorating the lifting of Govardhan Hill by Krishna when he was playing that role as a Kumara, as a child. So when Indra decided to flood Vrindavan and sent torrential rains for days and days and days and days. The devotees, of course, went to take shelter, Ashraya of Krishna. What else could they do? And he was like, I got you. Don't worry about this. And he just lifted Govardhan Hill and was just balancing it on his pinky, and it's described just the way a child would pick up a mushroom. And of course, everyone was completely protected under there. So that was just an example, and it was supposed to be an example to Indra and to anyone watching that, okay, you think that just because I am playing in this way as a human being, because I want to interact with my devotees, that I am just an ordinary mundane child, and that you can destroy me and you can destroy those that have taken shelter of me. But I'm here to demonstrate in a playful way that that is not the case. So, of course, at the conclusion of that interaction, Indra was extremely sorry and extremely apologetic. So there you have it. So that's really all I have to say about this text today. Next week is 37, then we go on to 38, 39, 40, 41, and 42. And 42 will bring us to the end of the opulence of the absolute and this chapter. So we only have a few more weeks of this. Sven, one of these days I'm hoping that people will be brave and they'll actually come on camera here with me and do a little chat, because I love to hear from you guys too and have little conversations instead of me just kind of, talking up here by myself. So if you'd ever be into that, Sven, let me know. All right, so now I guess I'm just going to wrap it up, by doing a little house cleaning or letting you know, what's coming up. Again, I'm actually going to have some music available for you guys. This is called Light a Candle in the Darkness, and I've only made a few of these. I've made like less than 100. I think I have maybe 98 left, 98 or 90 of them, 99 of them left, and it is specifically linked to a free musical experience and movie launch that I've created that finally is ready to go. So thinking by the end of the week, Halloween or right after Halloween, I'm going to start inviting you guys to that. It's exclusive content. You're not going to be able to find it anywhere else on the internet. I worked very hard on it because I want to share with you the grieving process and the connection process that I went through when I lost my loved ones. And the holiday season can be a very, very tough season for many of us. It can be a very depressing time of year because there are people that we want around that just aren't around anymore, that have crossed over. And especially during these times, during this time where we just, we're losing a lot of people. I know that a friend of mine just lost her mother, just a couple of weeks ago. And it's right before Thanksgiving, right? The last thing you want to do is lose someone right before the holidays. So Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, the whole holiday season. So I will show you, if you stay tuned to this page, and if you've liked this page, then you should see an invitation, for that. And I will also change things up top here. That's what's going on. I'm really, really excited about it. So I thank you very much for being here this morning. I apologize again for being late. Thank you for liking my video and watching my video and following that love story. And I'm going to be over on Instagram at 9:35 a.m. to do another live stream for you Instagram peeps up here. Also, I'm going to be doing another cooking demo in my private Facebook group for those of you that are into cooking, because Thanksgiving is upon us. Help! What to eat. So that's where I do something a little bit special, because I specialize in vegetarian cooking, Sometimes, you know, I have a vegan slant on those things too, but particularly highlighting the flavors of India because the cuisine is sublime and it's tasty, and, you know, it helps give you a new angle on your humdrum. So that being said, thank you very much for being here, and I will see you very soon. Bye-bye now. Thanks for being here, Sven.